Hello everyone. Today we're going to talk about cause and effect. And this is obviously a basis of system dynamics, is really understanding what the cause and effect relationships are between different parts of the system. And so often people get it wrong in terms of what causes what. And so I wanted to study this concept or talk about this concept in this particular video. So I'm going to start with 5 statements that I read from the news recently, and I'll read these aloud in case you can't read the font here. And the question is, what do they have in common? So, statement number 1, people with fewer of their own teeth run a greater risk of dying from heart disease than those carrying a full set of teeth. So obviously, according to this, losing your teeth causes heart disease. Second one was a new theory, a new study that came out that said messy apartments can lead to obesity. So what this article said, that the first step in losing weight is to clean up your apartment, because obviously messy apartments are going to cause you to gain weight. Third one, which is a little bit more difficult, the longer a customer spends on a website, the longer amount of time, the more they buy. Okay. Next one, there was a question whether free downloading of songs, so illegal downloading of songs, negatively impacts legitimate music sales. And a study came out saying no, that heavy downloaders spend more on music than non-downloaders. So therefore, the more you download, the more music you buy. And the more illegally you download, the more legitimate music you buy. And then lastly, 35% of residents, only 35% apparently, are overweight in walkable neighborhoods, whereas 60% of residents are overweight in non-walkable neighborhoods. So the more walkable your neighborhood is, the healthier you are. So what these 5 have in common is they imply a very simple cause and effect relationship between one variable and another, which I don't think is true, or I don't think is necessarily true, or it's an oversimplistic way of looking at these cases. So let's dive into these. So when somebody, actually first let me define correlation versus causation. So correlation is a statistical relationship between 2 variables. Okay, so 2 things seem to be related. That's difficult than causality, where you're saying that one thing causes another. So one event causes the second event to happen. It's a consequence of the first event. So correlation, just because 2 things are statistically related, does not imply that they're cause and effect relationship between the 2. And I'll show you a bunch of examples to kind of illustrate this concept. So let's start with 2 things. All these examples will be 2 things. And it starts with A causes B. And we need to figure out whether that's indeed true. So smoking causes lung cancer. This is a case where that is true. There's a high correlation between the population that smokes and the population that has lung cancer. But in this case, we know it's a cause and effect because we understand the biology. It's not just the correlation. We understand what smoking does to the body, does to the lungs, and how that causes lung cancer to occur. So it's not just a correlation, it's a cause and effect because we understand the underlying biology, not just the statistics. Okay, another example possible between A and B. Time spent on a website causes you to buy more. So that's what one of the articles implied. Now this could be exactly reversed, right? So let's say I have to buy 10 things from Amazon.com versus just 1 thing. So the reality is it takes time to buy things. So if I have to buy 10 things and select them and look at alternatives and read the reviews and those sorts of things, I'm going to have to spend more time on the site than if I have to buy 1 thing. So the cause and effect could be exactly reversed, that the more I have to buy, the more time I spend on the site, just getting through the buying process. So it could be exactly reversed from what was stated in that article. A third kind of relation is one we talked about in prior videos. Late products cause missed sales. Okay, that's true. A causes B in this case. But it can also be true that missed sales causes an organization to clamp down on hiring, so there's less developers, so products are even more late. So it's actually a reinforcing loop. A causes B, but B also causes A. So it doesn't have to be just one or the other. An example from the articles may be the healthy resident and the walkable neighborhood thing. So people that are healthy will tend to pick neighborhoods that are walkable or more outdoorsy or more conducive to exercise, that sort of thing. That may be what they value in buying a house. And it also may be true that in a walkable neighborhood, it's more natural to exercise, or it's easier to make it part of your day, so it leads the residents to be healthier. So this may be a positive, reinforcing loop here, and not a matter of which one is causing which. They both might be feeding off of each other. And the last example I want to give you is through the downloading music case. So illegally downloading music, what they're saying is causes more music purchases. Okay? The reality is that they may not be related at all in terms of cause and effect. It might be that somebody who loves music, so a third factor, C, causes both. So I love music, it causes me to illegally download music, which I don't do, but causes me to do that, and it causes me to purchase more music. I just love music, so I download it, I buy it, I play musical instruments, I do whatever. I go to concerts, It might be a common cause, causes a number of things, which does not mean that they are related to each other. Okay? The theory in this case was that if you download music illegally, you sample it, and it might cause you to buy it later, so therefore there's this cause and effect relationship. But that cause and effect relationship may not be there. It might just be this case where if you love music, it causes both. And there's a very classic example of this one where ice cream sales and number of drownings are highly correlated. So if you take some number of drownings in some particular area in some particular month, that's going to be highly correlated with the ice cream sales in that area as well. And so this implies that the more ice cream you eat, the more chance you have of drowning. And the reality is that that's a common cause, that ice cream sales has nothing to do with drowning. The reality is when it's hotter outside, that drives more ice cream sales, and it also drives more people to swim, and that can lead to more drownings, unfortunately. So it's a common cause. It's just hotter, so it causes both. But ice cream has nothing to do with drowning. So some cases, people will have two variables that are correlated. They'll state a cause and effect, and they have nothing to do with each other. It's really a common cause situation. Okay? So it's a little bit simplistic, but the reality is a lot of people get this wrong. They'll say A causes B, but you need to think about whether they're actually right. They could be right for sure. B could cause A. They could have it exactly backward. It could be a reinforcing cycle, so A does cause B, but B also causes A, and it's a virtuous or a vicious cycle. And then lastly, a lot of people mix up this common cause thing where A doesn't cause B. They may be correlated, they may look related, but there's something else that's causing both issues. There's some C that's causing both A and B. So just because two things are correlated and they look related doesn't mean that they're a cause and effect relationship. You need to think through and understand, like in the lung cancer case, the process, the biology, the underlying science, what is actually going on beyond just the statistics to prove cause and effect relationships. So why is this important? To be a great leader, to be a great problem solver, you need to understand the root causes of issues. And many times people get the cause and effect wrong, and certainly don't believe everything you read. A lot of these studies, a lot of the presentations you'll get on here are the problems, it may not be a simple cause and effect relationship, or they may have gotten something wrong. And therefore you end up fixing the wrong issue. So if A is causing B, if you think A is causing B and B is the symptom of the problem, if you fix A, it may not matter. If you fix ice cream sales, it's not going to affect drowning. You need to, I guess that's not a great case, but you need to fix C to fix B, not necessarily fix A, if that makes sense. So understanding the root cause, really understanding the cause and effect connections, cause you to be a better problem solver, cause you to fix those core issues. So I hope that was helpful. I hope that was enlightening. I certainly don't believe everything I read in terms of cause and effect relationships anymore, and you shouldn't either. So that's it. I'll talk to you soon.